Hello, family.
Hello.
How's everybody doing? People. That's what we're talking about. It's people today. We've met some really cool people.
Yeah. And I guess the idea for this today is people you meet or come across or insert into your life that change the trajectory of your life or your perspective.
Change your perspective, yeah. There's so many, like, I have a hard time limiting this one. Like, when we think about people who have changed the way you, like, because perspective, right? So, like, perspective is this, like, how you
think,
how you view the world. And so I feel like 20 years into marriage, 22 years together, something like that.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people. And so it's hard to like pick just a few that have made like such a huge impact on us.
Yeah. I guess because, there's probably people who have changed the trajectory of our life as individuals, but there's also relationship wise people who we have in our lives that have helped us.
Yeah. So I guess
so it's kind of a combination of both.
Yeah. So today it's like, if you're tuning in, thank you. And we're talking about like those people who have made a huge difference in what they did. And I think for me, it wouldn't be complete without thinking also about like, so if we have these people that made such a difference in our lives, how are we making a difference in other people's lives?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it is we're thinking about people who've changed our lives, but then taking that step back and what are we doing to contribute to the people around us?
Yeah, because like ultimately that's the goal, right? Is to like leave people and leave places better than you found them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you were to say the first person that comes to your mind when you think of like somebody who has changed your perspective, who, like, what name comes to mind?
I guess for me it's like most recent, I guess, and then I'd work backwards to like things that are past. But I mean, so I don't even have to go in that order. There's like you said, there's a lot.
So who go in that order? So who's the most recent person who has changed your perspectives?
So the most recent would probably be Adam.
Oh.
And the most recent.
Shout out to Adam.
Shout him out.
We spent Thanksgiving with Adam.
Yeah, and his family. And
Adam, I will say, like, so I will let you get on with it, but we were just talking about this. So Tyler and I, we're super sore today because yesterday we ran a half marathon, not because we were in a race, but because we just chose to. And it was we've been training, we've run all the time, but we run like in a very flat area. And then we ran a half marathon in Seattle. And it was
Bellevue to Seattle.
Yeah.
We ran across the bridge.
We ran Bellevue to Seattle and back. And it was 1,000 feet of gain. Like,
which some people is like
that might be nothing to you, but for us, it was brutal. And I will say that it was like mile 10, mile 9, something like that. Where I was like, oh man, we're coming to the end of the bridge, and like the hills are coming, and my legs are hurting. And I actually was like, what would Adam do?
What would Adam do? Yeah.
So, okay, so tell
anyway,
me why though. Why does Adam?
Yeah, so I met Adam on Beast Games season 1. He is a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just it's one of those people that you meet that are always positive.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of positivity that people have.
He has
I
a
think,
very chill vibe.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he's just down to earth and real, and just a lot of things that I gravitate towards is just with that. And then him with his career, he's a professional ultra marathoner. So just like, oh, we're like, you know, you always do a good job of pushing me, athletic endurance and all the fitness journey that we've been on. Yeah, but sometimes it's, for me personally, I have to hear it from like multiple places.
Yeah.
For it to like to zing, to hit. And so yeah, I think going from like stepping up the physical piece for like distances, and like you said, it's just like it's not, you know, it is difficult, but anybody can set a goal and do it. You know, it's not necessarily the physical piece, it's a lot of the mental piece.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he's one person that like, oh, physically I can do, and mentally I can do harder things when it comes to endurance.
So he just kind of opened your eyes to more like the endurance piece of it.
Yeah, or that I could do it because you do it, and I want to be part of the things you do too. So, so I'd say that's one.
I will say that shout out to our own children, because that was we are running a half marathon coming up in a couple, like 3 weeks, something like that. And like actual race, not like just for funsies. We're running a real half marathon. And when I said, hey, I want to train for a half marathon, you were like, good luck with that. Have fun. And because you ran one with me last year. And then our own kids were like, Dad, you better do it. You better just do it with Mom.
Yeah.
And so you signed up. So, you know, there's that. There's that. But yeah, so well, like when honestly the very first name that popped up in my head is like people that I've met that have made a big difference, or like a shift in my perspective. I actually thought about an old professor. So when I was like in my mid-20s, I decided to go back to college. I hadn't I didn't have the grades right out of high school, and nor did I have any idea what I really wanted to do. But when I was in my mid-20s, I decided that I wanted to go back to school, and I wanted to study like biblical studies, and so like looking at a lot of like different classes that way. One of my professors was this guy named Charles, who was like at that time in his 70s and pursuing his third doctorate. And I remember being so blown away because like he taught a bunch of my classes, and for me, like I remember being kind of in awe of like how much this guy knew. But then after like a few classes taking with him, and like I would turn in papers and whatever, he started coming to me and was like, hey, what is your perspective on X, whatever? Or, hey, I've written this. He had me actually look over his thesis for his third doctorate. Or he had a speaking gig that he was doing. There was like a big event that was going on at this like mega church, and he was like, hey, would you want to come speak at this with me? And I remember at the time being like, I'm like 26, like I don't know half of what you know. And his response when I was like, I don't know if I'm qualified, was, of course you're qualified. A, I've read your papers, but B, that's not how the kingdom of God works. The kingdom of God does not work by how many PhDs you have. It works by the Spirit. And I think that you need to go and you need to share your story. And I remember thinking, it was just mind blowing to me that like the key, like that, like you said, like it was just like this, you actually have value, and it's not in your accolades on the outside, right? Like it's not this like you've earned this and this and this, and so you have the privilege to speak. And that shifted a lot of perspective for me in the world of faith. And I will tell you that since then, like even just being open to conversations with new believers and new people who have devoted their lives, like it just is, it's such a weird dichotomy and so different from the world that we live in. And it was just mind-blowing to me that, you know, in our world, the more accolades you have, the more PhDs you have, the more, you know, all of that. And to be honest, like I've spent a lot of my life running that rat race, like trying to compete almost.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just this like eye-opening, like that's not how things have to be. And that in the kingdom of God, that's not what matters.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just like, for me, it was such a weird shift, but I'm so glad that it happened. And we ended up, both of us went to Charles's church for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a great guy. I will say, until his, like, through his 80s, he played basketball.
He did.
And
pick up games at the
he would
rec center.
Yeah, he went like multiple times a week to play basketball. I was really sad when he passed. Like he was a really, really influential person for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's definitely been others too that we've both had since being married. And yeah,
we have a friend, Daniel Ramamurthy.
Yeah.
Dan Ram. And
that I met while I was in Bible school. Yeah.
It was just like, and this, we didn't really know him, and then you reached out to him just because of his platform.
Well, no, I didn't. I reached out to him because, so I had a friend of a friend. He was a friend of a friend. So I was doing hair at the time, going to Bible school, and I had an idea for a book. And I wanted to write about grace and the effects of grace. And I had this friend of mine who was like, oh man, you should meet my friend Daniel. He lives in Ireland. And I was like, this was before we traveled internationally. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, would he even, like, it was just so far-fetched for me to like meet with somebody in Ireland. And I was like, yeah, you know, put us in touch. And she did. And so I interviewed Dan Ram for a book idea that I had. And it ended up, I didn't end up making the book. I ended up, if you ever want to read the articles, I wrote an article about him, and turned the whole book idea into a series of articles for Lifetree Family. But yeah, he was so willing to just be like, I don't know you, but like, let me tell you my life story.
And he had a platform, like
this guy from whose family's from India.
Yeah. And he had a large.
At that point, he didn't. Like, at that point, no.
But he grew to have like this large like platform on social media.
Yeah. At that point, he was in Ireland and he was singing worship for a church. But he, like, his whole story was so amazing and transformative about like that. It involved so many different cultures, you know.
And I appreciated that. The social equity piece.
Yeah.
Like if you wrote something on a Instagram or a YouTube, like he always responded.
Oh, I know.
For like somebody who has like thousands and thousands of followers. And then to him to like.
So he started like emceeing these like giant events and
TED Talks and all kinds of things throughout Europe. And
he met like billionaires.
And he met our kids, and he'd always like touch base and ask how the family's doing.
Well, that was like anytime our kids reached out, he was always like, he responded to them personally, and I was like, Dan, like that's amazing. Yeah.
And just the authenticity that he had, and just how to treat people from all different. Like being a global citizen kind of piece that he was just a all around good guy of just like
this
loving
idea
everyone.
that like you can get really big and still not be too big for your britches, kind of,
And
you know,
super
like
yeah, and be humble.
yeah, like
And then
still
I
be
think
like
that's
willing to write back to the 16-year-old kid that just wrote
yeah.
you.
And I think there's like a common. I think that might be the biggest common factor in all the people that
Yeah.
how humble they are.
Yeah, true. That
I
they've
think
like made it really far
yeah.
and yet are still like, yeah, you're right.
Or yeah, it doesn't matter. Like they
Yeah. So maybe the takeaway for us is like if we really want to be those people, like we need to become wildly successful and then be humble about it, or
yeah. Just don't forget the people who are
I think it's not even don't forget because like you have people like that we just met, like Adam, we just met.
yeah. I mean, just I guess keep your just be open to new experiences and new people.
Yeah. Well, I think there's also like a lesson in like people aren't always who we think they like. We might be like, oh my gosh, you're this big deal. And like, you're never going to want to talk to me, or you're never going to want to invest in me, or you're never going to want my opinion on this.
People are people.
But people are people. And so, like, realizing that too.
Mm-hmm.
While also realizing that they're like so cool and have accomplished a lot. Who else? Oh man. I mean, I think about there's like the obvious ones, like the super obvious ones that we've talked about before, like my grandma, or like Rob and Carol, my aunt and uncle, who we've tried to like emulate their marriage because like I love their marriage and everything about what they do. But I also think that there's people like Fahed who came to Berlin as a refugee when we lived in Berlin, and when we met him, he was volunteering at a refugee center that was not his own.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing, and he was there to like help translate, and he was 16. And just like being a part of a community, and you're like, this was at a time when people back home were constantly berating us with this idea that we were not safe because of the refugee crisis.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. Like,
or just like where somebody is from dictates how they're going to be.
Yeah, like a lot of people are like, oh, like
which we still hear a lot about.
There's these terrorists and they're coming into the, you know, and then we meet this guy named Fahed, and he's amazing, and he is that, you know, like I remember like the first time I met him, I was like, dude, you need to come over to our house. You need to meet my whole family. And he did, and our kids fell in love with him. Yeah. And he ended up like he's like my son. He's my adopted kid. Yeah. And like I adore that guy. Adore him, and I know that he feels the same way about our family. And it's like sometimes I think about if we hadn't moved to Germany and met people like him, or like thinking about Yasser and Fardus. Yasser was the guy. So Yasser straight kissed Evan on the mouth. He was a refugee, and he came over, and he was from Syria, a veterinarian. He came with his family, and he was so elated to meet us that he kissed Evan, and Evan was not like, it was just like a cultural like, whoa, you just kissed me. But it was just a very like, he was so grateful. And but we just met so many people like that like we've talked about this, that like if we hadn't met them, we might be tempted to fall into that same line of thinking of like anybody foreign is dangerous. Yeah. Especially
just because you base what you know
on the news.
Yeah. Yeah. Without experiencing it.
Yeah. And so all these people would be like, oh, these like, don't let them in, don't let them in. And you're going, I have met so many amazing people. Yeah. And I think those shifted our perspective even to this day. Because I'm not like both of us, like we're not easily,
duped by what we read or see.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
for sure. And I would say another one for me would be like my friend John.
mhm.
Like just
Which John? You love
John
Johns.
Wart.
There's some good
I have
Johns.
a lot of Johns in my
Tyler
life.
has some really good Johns in his
But,
life.
like-
If you're a John in Tyler's life, we appreciate you.
Yeah, all of you. But it was just like we were friends in high school.
Hmm. I do adore.
Not a big.
I adore John McNeely and John Wart are like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We didn't really do a whole lot in college together, but social media kept, you keep in touch with people.
Hmm.
And then I went on life, and he did his life, and we reconnected, and it's just like the things that people are watching, and the thing like just the positivity again of just like somebody who is there like, oh, and like
Hmm.
I really see that the change, how you've changed from the Tyler that I knew in high school and college to the Tyler that you are now. Like little aspects of that, and just like
who actually like embraced your differences.
Yeah,
instead of
and celebrated it, and not like was like, oh, where's the other guy?
Yeah.
And just noticed that, and then like was able to say something, or like something appreciative or positive. It meant a lot, like not knowing like I'm just stumbling across life trying to figure like am I doing anything right, being a young father and
but
going about this, and then
like,
somebody
I feel
saying like
he's so non-judgmental.
No, yeah, I don't think so either. It's just we're our own worst critic.
We are, but he's just that like
but
that voice
when somebody
in your
comes
head
out
that's
and
also
says
like, hey, you're doing great. Like,
Yeah.
he just is encouraging. Yeah.
When you don't expect
Thank you,
it.
Wart. Yeah.
I think that it means a lot.
For
when
sure.
you get feedback, you're not anticipating it.
And those people that like, I mean, that's why I say like all the Johns is like in your life. I feel like those are the people that like continue to reach out into adulthood too, and like let you know that they're still there and they still care. Like I have like maybe one or two people from high school that like continually reach out.
Yeah. More than just like liking a post.
Yeah, like I have Keely who will make a point to like reach out, and that always is important to me.
It is.
Yeah.
We're all busy, but honestly, a text.
Yeah.
Or a voice message doesn't take that much.
So here's my question. If we think about all these people that we've just like, there's so many, we could keep going.
Yeah.
There's so many people who have made a difference in our lives and are like shifted our perspectives on things. But if you were to say, okay, so we want to be that for somebody, what would that be? Like how do we show up for other people in the way that those people have shown up for us? When we think about like, so thinking about Charles, Adam, Fahed.
I mean, I think it's
John.
Doing our part for the communication, like keeping the line of communication open, but also like calling somebody instead of just
like keeping in touch.
Well, because you can get a whole lot more said with a conversation than just like
that's true,
an actual text. But like, the highs and lows in life, to like pick up the phone and call that person.
Yeah.
And just check in, I guess, would be to be, if you can't physically be there in the same city, to like show up at their house or whatever, to do that.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess these would all be people that are examples of that.
And that I've done that, yeah. And I try to
and
do,
like invest,
and I try to do on the other side too.
Yeah, like invest in you in some way.
You have to. I think it's just keep the lines of communication open, and set aside time. Or you don't have to set aside it, but just know that people are important. and be flexible with what your time is.
I think all of them also have like grace for people,
Mhm.
like realizing life is life, and I don't know, like all of them seem to be like those people that just are like chill, like they're like this like
Yeah.
they're not like holding things against you, or they're they're just like okay, like they're just like letting you be you, and like loving you for that. Like all of these people are very good at that. So, and then yeah, like not getting so caught up in themselves
Yeah.
either. Like I feel like the world is designed in a way that like the minute you see success, you're just gonna get caught up in your own success.
Yeah.
And like these are people who don't do that.
Yeah. And we all get caught up with trying to like we all get busy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
But they still like make time for other people.
Yeah. I think it's important that I think that's like you said,
and acknowledge
something that
other
we need to
people.
do is make time.
Yeah, I think time is a big one. And like you said, like it's that like all of these people are also people who could be tooting their own horn and are continuing to toot other people's horns.
Yeah.
And encourage. So there you go. I guess that's the answer. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've gone long. That's okay.
It's good.
Celebrating people. Thank you for listening if you're listening
guys.
this far, and thank you for those of you who have been there for us.
Yeah, or continually to show up,
Mm-hmm.
and even if you didn't get a shout out,
yep.
we appreciate you.
We do. So have a good rest of your week.
That's right.
It is spring break for us, so we're gonna try to relax, except not at all. So
we'll do our best.
All right. We might run 13 more miles. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Adios.
Bye, guys.